Well, hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning back into the final part 4 of this walkthrough that we've been doing as I show you from start to finish how I record these base covers that I've been posting here. So before we move any further, if you haven't watched parts 1, 2, and 3 of the walkthrough series, I highly recommend you go and do that, just because that provides the entire context for the video portion, which we're talking about in this video. All the links will be in the bio and the description below, so be sure to watch through those. They are about 15 minutes long a piece, but totally worth your time, especially if you are interested in this stuff. So before we do this, move forward, anything like that, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, if you haven't turned on notifications, if you aren't liking our videos, and if you aren't commenting, please do that. Tell us what you think about the videos. Let us know that you like it. Or dislike it. I don't know. I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but give us some feedback. Give me some feedback on what you think about this, as well as make sure that you're sharing these videos with your friends who might be interested in this stuff. So now we're going to turn back to the picture-in-picture stuff. So we are here. Like we talked about in the last video, we finished editing, getting our reamp stuff taken care of for the bass dry track. I've turned the tube EQ and the compressor back on to bring that warmth back into the mix, quite literally. Also, kind of scoop some low end out of the reamped channel just to kind of get some muddiness and kind of squariness out of everything. I also added just for kind of gluing things together further and blending everything nicely, as well as making sure all of the project is properly EQ'd, not just portions of it. I did add in the basic factory setting that is in Logic, just factory basic. I did adjust linear EQ to reduce that low cut, and then also, I did not do anything like that. Adjusted some limiting so that it's all nice and loud still. I did mess with the multipressor, but just to kind of clean everything up and keep some, or redefine the frequency limits for this, but nothing super major. Then I bounced it as a WAV file. I like using WAV files, a little bit more robust than like an MP3 when you're working with stuff like this. I already have created everything. I use Final Cut and Logic Pro 10. I actually received, I got a bundle that got Logic Pro, Final Cut, Compressor, which we'll talk about in a second, Motion, which is like After Effects from Adobe, but the Apple version, and MainStage, which is all of the same plugins as Logic, but for live performances. So I've already pulled everything over into Final Cut, and I have created a new project, blind everything up because I wanted to make this as nice and clean as possible and easy for you. So let's go ahead and the couple things that we're going to be working on today when we are in the video side is color correction, time aligning, and basic polishing like titles that you've seen, and start and end points. I did a little bit of that already. Let me turn down audio. I did that already, which is why you see this right here. Now let's focus in on the video portion. As you can see, it's kind of bland. If we're being completely honest, let me see. There we go. If we're being completely honest, it is a little bland. iPhone 11 has a great camera, but it's not as great as a DSLR, so we do have to do a little bit of editing. I use 3 settings, or 3 kind of tools. I use the color curves, which we will go to that. I like to kind of bring up some shadows, drop some highlights, and then mess with some of the Luma settings in here just to kind of give a little bit more of a warm vibe to it like you see here. There's unedited, there's post-edit. It's nice. Kind of brings some dimension to it. Let's go back to the main. I also love the HDR tools preset. I found a good mix setting for it to where it's just below 1, and it does kind of bring more of like an HD vibe to it. Kind of makes me feel like I'm a pro video producer. Then I also add some sharpen, just to kind of, you don't really notice it. It's one of those things where you notice it if it's not there. So I like to sharpen it just a little bit to give a little bit more crispness to the video. Next, what I do is what I did for this project, at least. Let's zoom in a little bit. I had the video turn on right as that first snare hits, right as Aaron Sterling hits that first snare as he comes in, just to kind of give some dynamic, kind of almost a cool guy feel. I feel really cool when I do kind of stuff like this. So let's just roll through the first 15, 20 seconds. And I've already copied and pasted in this title, but we'll work together to get the title to fade out when we want it to. So let's start at the beginning. Obviously, there's some lagginess because we're processing a lot of information. But what we'll just go ahead and do is this is where, let's see. This is where John Mayer starts singing. So we'll go ahead. I like to have the title kind of be the focal point until there's some other music coming on. So we'll go ahead and expand this. It's about 15 seconds of title being displayed. It's not that big of a deal, at least in my opinion. So we have that going. Let's zoom back out. And then we have the rest of the video. Everything is time aligned. I dragged everything in over here. Super clean at this point, or at least it's as clean as I want it to be. I know that if we wanted to, we could take it into other programs and make it look as clean as possible. One of the big things that you do have to worry about when you're working in Final Cut Pro is this area up here. Your rendering and your transcoding and analysis. If you don't have these properly rendered and transcoded and everything working properly, then you're not going to get the crispest, the most crisp playback when you're in the native application. So you need to worry. You need to make sure that that's right, especially before you move forward. Now, next, what we're going to do is we're going to, so that project's finished. I've cut the end like I like it. So I'm going to go to File, Send to Compressor. What the compressor does is it takes all of those files that you have in that project and gets it ready in a more customizable way for publishing or sharing. I could go to the share. I could go to these shortcuts and destinations, but what compressor does is it makes it a little bit easier to share those. So start new batch. What that will do is you will see the compressor open, and I will, this compressor is loading. I'll go ahead and add the destination. I do everything for video sharing services. I do everything for 4K. Super clean, super nice, great setting. So I also will, I'll save it to my desktop. I don't always do this, but for this video, for this purpose, I will. So I will click OK. Once it's set, then I will go to the bottom and click Start New Batch. All right, guys, that is the 4-part walkthrough of how I do a bass cover. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's a lot of time spent with me. So once again, thank you so much for dealing and bearing with me as a human. I really appreciate it. New Light by John Mayer. The cover will be available in just a couple days. So make sure you are like we said, subscribed and have notifications turned on. Super excited to share the final product with you as we have spent so much time together talking about it. Either way, hope you have a great rest of your time on the internet, doing whatever you're doing. Either way, have a great day. Thanks so much.